Listen, they're telling Caribbean women to decenter men. How that going even work? How that going work? How will that work? Caribbean women? You mean the same women who have been told from they were in the womb that the man is the center of their life? Them have to grow to be able to hold a man, hold on the man, stand by the man, build the man. So how now you're telling her to decenter the man? How that going to work? If you're a Caribbean woman, do you even think this is possible in our lifetime, in our daughters' lifetimes? I've done a number of videos about decentering men, what it looks like, why it is necessary from the Caribbean perspective. Why is it so hard for a Caribbean woman, a Jamaican woman, a Barbadian woman, Trinidadian woman, even our Spanish speaking neighbors? Tell me about it. Why is it so hard for us to conceive of this notion of the man is no longer the center of your life? I know it's not hard for me personally, but I know it's going to be a struggle for a lot of my Jamaican sisters, my sisters from St. Kitts, my sisters from Antigua, because the culture that we're coming from with everything tied up in one. You know, in the Caribbean, we're entangled in a lot of things, right? Our history is one of entanglement, all kind of different culture, races, ethnicity, all kind of different something together. But a heavy part of that culture is patriarchy from the colonial days, slavery and the gender roles, all of those things intertwined. The remnants of that, the legacy of that, it not pretty. It not pretty in terms of how women are perceived and how women are told that they have to be in order to navigate this world. So we're carrying a lot of that still with us, right? Why is it so hard? Our cultural backlash, the cultural backlash. Women, if they branch off and start to talk, they talk about, oh, I can live by myself, I don't necessarily need to get married, I don't necessarily need to have children to perpetuate a man's legacy, I don't need a boyfriend. How is that woman perceived in the Caribbean context? She is seen as, oh, so you feel like you're independent, so you feel like you're too modern, so you're not going to submit. And in the religious perspective, there's a lot of religious pressure on women to submit. This whole thing about the submissive woman, the the woman who is worthy of marriage, the virtuous woman. Who is the virtuous woman? She is portrayed as a woman who is going to stand by her husband no matter what. And we all know the whats that the husbands can get up to. But the virtuous woman will endure. She's long suffering. She shrinks in order for him to expand and to explore his horizons. She shrinks to allow him to be. And there's a lot of religious pressure on men to shrink and to submit and to not explore her possibilities if they are going to clash with his. So you're seen as, oh, so she thinks she what she thinks she is. and then the the predictions come. Oh, you're going to die alone, you're going to be lonely, you're going to have 70 cats, you're going to have to take up crochet and knitting if you decide that you want to not have a husband, not have a boyfriend, and you might be seen as loose if you don't aspire to marriage and settling down and starting a family. Oh, you are a loose woman. You want to be like a man. Well, you can't be like a man. You can't do what the boys do and still be a lady. Haven't you heard that? Don't you know the song? Girls, you can't do what the boys do and still be a lady. So the men are given this freedom to go and explore, go and see the world, go and sample all the tastes of the world. But the woman must preserve herself, shrink herself for the man. So these are the narratives that we're fed. And in the Caribbean, there is still a lot of unemployment. Even though many women are now in the workforce, a lot of women still are unemployed and still have this notion that they must depend on the man financially. Even some women who are employed still have that notion that, hey, even though I have a job, the man is still responsible for me, take care of my needs, pay my bills, even to do my hair and nails. He is responsible for me. So it's almost like the woman is still seen as a child who this man must take care of, is responsible for. Her father or father figure hands her over to her new master, her new father. And a lot of men we know they love to be called daddy. Mm? So there's this whole notion that the woman she's not an adult in and of herself. She's still a child to be taken care of, to be protected. Someone else's dependence, someone's responsibility other than her own. This still persists. It still persists. And a lot of women, because of this, they don't have that drive. More and more women are getting the drive, going out there, getting educated, starting businesses. But still, some women just don't have that drive because they feel like it's that they have been told from their little coming up, I am a man's responsibility. If I want to go out there and earn, that's like a bonus. It's an extra. But he is responsible for me for the basic things. A lot of women still hold that notion. If you are going to decenter men, you must accept that you are your responsibility. Make sure you get your education. Carve out a path for yourself where you can stand beside the man as an equal to that man. You can't have your cake and eat it too, women. We tell men that all the time, but we must understand that too. You can't say you are equal, you're just as good, and then saying, well, he's responsible for me as an adult woman. That's a double standard there, and you need to address that. If you are saying that you are equal, then you are saying you are an adult who is responsible for yourself, right? Independent and responsible. So there's an expectation that, yes, we know biologically the women carry life, we give birth, we naturally nurture, but we're also expected to be the caregivers for others outside of our children. We are the caregivers for our men, for their friends, for society on a whole, even in the workplace. We're expected to be the servers, the emotional managers, the peacekeepers in the workplace, in the home, in the wider society. We have to share that burden, that emotional burden that we have carried and that makes us haggard before our time. Hmm? This thing about you're going to die alone, this fear of loneliness, and the social judgment that is placed on women if she is without a man, if she's a woman who has no boyfriend, no man to speak for her. Are you spoken for? Can you imagine an adult woman? If you don't have a man, you're not spoken for. I can speak for myself. I am not a failure for not having a boyfriend or a husband. That narrative is still strong. And that those are the things that we need to rid ourselves of. Is very difficult in our context because we have a heavy um, historical, we're carrying this over, and it didn't start in slavery. It's coming even from the continent, right? Where men were the center. And if we are now going to say that we are decentering men, we have to change the whole narrative, change our perspective, change some little things that we do and say that give us some kind of privileges under patriarchy as women, that somebody else is responsible to protect you, to provide for you. If you're gonna say you're gonna decenter men, you have to accept that you must now take responsibility for yourself. And if you are standing with a man in marriage or in building a family, then you both are equally responsible. Some women are not ready for that. Some women are not ready for that. But if you're saying that you're going to decenter men, this is one of the things you have to be ready for. Are we ready for the conversation that a man cannot say he is the head of the household if his woman is contributing financially the same as him or even more than him? How can you, in your head, tell yourself, I am the head of the household, and your woman is working, bringing in her contribution to the household, plus doing the household chores, and you are the head? Why are you the head? Why do the final decisions rest on you? And she is now standing toe to toe with you in terms of providing. We know women are natural protectors, especially when it comes to our children. So this narrative of the man as a protector, I don't think that is true. We as women have a natural fierce instinct to protect our own. So these are the things we have to revisit if we are serious about decentering men.